Hey everyone, this is Condeluci, and over many years we've been talking about community building opportunities for people with disabilities. And I want to just share some ideas with you that we've been developing at UCP class in Pittsburgh that I think might be helpful to you. First off, we know that all people want to be in the community. All people would rather have an opportunity to be valued in the community. But for many people, especially people who have disabilities, those community opportunities are far and few between. Many times agencies will create programs that will take people into the community, but that really doesn't get to this more powerful notion of being of the community. And we can get people into the community, but being of the community is a whole different challenge. And you know, as we've been thinking about this at UCP class, you know, you have to go back and understand how people who happen to have disabilities are treated. The micro model, the therapeutic model, the clinical model has really been the historical perspective for people with disabilities. And with that model, there's a notion that somehow, some way, the reason why the person who has a disability is not active in the community is because they have a disability, because of them. It's them who is the problem, or their disability that's the problem. And so many programs and many services have focused attention on trying to, you know, address the disability as the issue and try to maybe mitigate or lessen the effects of the disability. We at UCP class think that that's an erroneous direction. We don't think that that really delivers or serves people well. And so we've been developing a macro approach. What we believe is disability is not the problem, and so to generate an energy to try to fix the disability doesn't really lead to more community involvement. What we see as the problem is that communities' attitudes and perceptions are narrow, that people in the community have stereotypes and assumptions about disabilities that are erroneous. And so our agenda is to really change the culture. We call that macro change. That's when the judgments, the assumptions, the attitudes of just a typical person in the community, when that begins to broaden, the person with the disability can be more included. So that effort doesn't look to change the person with disability, it looks to change the community. And we have a method of really attempting to address this. And if you go to our website, or if you search out some of the notions from talks I've done and books we've written on this, you'll find that we see 4 steps to building valuable, viable community options for people with disabilities. The step 1 is to really think about the person with the disability from a perspective of what they have in common with community. Rather than think about their deficits, we want to think about people's commonality. And so what we do is we look at finding those connectors that people have, that all people have. Every one of you watching this video today, or any of us at UCP class, we all have things that make us common with other people. So the first step is finding that commonality. The second step is finding a matching community venue. And this is where we really quarrel with a lot of action that happens in the disability community. What we find happening is that people will discover that somebody with a disability likes, I don't know, photography. And they think, well, let's get a bunch of other people with disabilities together and we'll have a photography club. That's not community building. That doesn't really create the opportunity for people to be of the community. So our step 2 is really finding a generic photography club, if the person's interested in photography, or a music group, or a book reading club, or whatever the commonality that you find in step 1. So you're looking for a matching venue, step 2. Step 3 is to really understand how communities operate. You know, we talk a lot about being community-based agencies, but many of our organizations don't really understand the elements of community. At UCP class, we've been focusing our attention on trying to understand some of the key dimensions to how communities behave. We know that any community meets on a regular basis, has certain rituals, has certain patterns of movement, has certain jargon and words. And so understanding how the community behaves becomes the third critical step. So if I'm helping somebody who likes photography become more engaged in the community, and I find a photography club, the third step is figuring out what's expected of that club, what's expected of the person with the disability in the club. And then the fourth step, and probably the most important step of all, is finding a gatekeeper. A gatekeeper is somebody already in the club, already in the community, that has some impact and some influence on other members of the community. And so our effort is really to find somebody of the community to do the introduction of the person with the disability. All of these four steps are really focused on helping people build social capital. And social capital is really the goal of any community building agenda. Social capital are the relationships we have in our lives. And the whole notion of social capital is that it provides, makes people healthier, makes people happier, helps people achieve more. We're going to be doing an upcoming video on social capital, and we're going to talk more about that at that point. But building community requires four steps: finding people's commonality, finding the appropriate community venue, really analyzing what's expected for the behavior, and then lastly finding the gatekeeper. We've discovered at UCP class that if you follow these four steps, people have a much greater possibility of being not just in the community, but being of the community. So thanks a lot. You might want to check out our website, ucpclass.org. Track down some of our books. You can find some books that I've written. Together is Better, The Essence of Interdependence, Beyond Difference, just some of the titles. If you kind of Google Al Condeluci or Google UCP class, you'll be able to track these down. Appreciate you taking some time to listen to this. Look forward to seeing the work that you're going to do in the community. Take care now.